The world isn't loud by accident. It's crafted that way, meticulously designed to distract, disorient, and disconnect you from yourself. It's not just coincidence that you feel pulled in 100 directions the moment you wake up. The system thrives on noise, external noise to keep you from confronting internal silence. Every alert on your phone, every headline screaming urgency, every app competing for your attention, it's all part of a machine that feeds off your focus. And the more distracted you are, the less you listen to your own voice. That's the cost: your direction, your depth, your purpose, traded for quick dopamine and temporary engagement. Silence is no longer natural. In fact, it's become uncomfortable. People fear silence because silence makes them feel. In the stillness, there are no filters, no flashing lights, no external cues to lean on. There's only you, your thoughts, your doubts, your truth. And that's why the world gets louder. Because if you ever sat long enough to hear your own soul speak, the illusion would shatter. You'd start asking real questions. You'd stop buying distractions. You'd start living with intention instead of reacting by default. Most people don't even realize how far they've drifted from themselves. Their lives are full of motion but void of meaning. They're scrolling endlessly, responding instantly, multitasking constantly, and calling it productivity. But deep down, there's a quiet ache, a question that never gets answered. What am I doing this all for? That voice, the one asking, isn't gone. It's just buried under layers of noise. You were born with a compass, but you've been trained to follow traffic instead of direction. You've been trained to consume instead of reflect. Let me tell you something that's both simple and brutal. If you don't create silence in your life, it won't create itself. The world won't hand it to you. It will only hand you more to look at, more to worry about, more to chase. Silence isn't just a break, it's a battle, it's a decision. You have to carve it out intentionally, because only in the silence can you hear what matters. Only in the stillness can you start sorting what's essential from what's just noise pretending to be important. You think the biggest threat is failure. No, it's distraction, because failure teaches. Distraction deceives. It feels harmless. It feels like you're doing something, staying busy, staying connected. But all the while, you're drifting further from yourself. You're giving your best energy to things that don't build you, don't move you, don't even see you. And the longer you stay there, the harder it becomes to return to yourself. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you were truly still, not scrolling, not listening to something, not trying to be everywhere at once? Just present. When was the last time you sat in silence long enough to ask yourself what you really want, what really matters, what deserves your time, your energy, your soul? Most can't answer that. Not because they don't care, but because they've forgotten how to listen. Your inner voice doesn't shout, it whispers. It's not competing with the noise of the world. It's patiently waiting for you to turn down the volume, to be still, to come home. And when you do, even for a moment, you'll realize something powerful. Everything you were chasing outside of you was only meant to wake something up inside of you. If you want to reclaim your focus, you don't need more hacks or tools or time-blocking methods. You need to protect your mind like it's sacred, because it is. You need to treat your attention like currency, because it is. What you feed your mind becomes your mindset. What you give your focus to becomes your future. And if you don't take control of that, the world will gladly keep selling you noise while stealing your peace. So here's the truth. The loudest thing in your life shouldn't be the world outside you. It should be the clarity within you. But clarity doesn't come in chaos. It comes when you stop, get quiet and listen, really listen, because that's where your strength lies. That's where your answers live. That's where you begin. Look around you. Everything you see, everything you hear, every screen you swipe, It's all trying to do one thing, win your attention, and there's a reason for that. Your attention is power. It's the most valuable currency you'll ever own. Not your time, not your money, your attention, because where your attention goes, your energy flows, and where your energy flows, your life goes. The world figured that out before you did. Corporations, media, social platforms, they all discovered how valuable your focus is, and they've built billion-dollar industries around harvesting it. Every ping, every notification, every carefully crafted headline, it's all engineered to hook you. Not by accident, by design, and once they have your attention, they control the narrative. They tell you what to care about. They decide what you should be outraged by, what you should feel inferior about, what you should chase next. They don't need your permission, just your gaze, just your click, just your scroll. The tragedy is not that the world is loud. The tragedy is that people give away their attention so freely, as if it were worthless. They wake up and hand it over before their feet even touch the ground. Before they even check in with themselves, they're checking in with everyone else. They've already been pulled into 10 different directions by 10 different opinions and don't even realize it. That's not just distraction, that's disempowerment. You've got to understand this. Attention is not just about focus, it's about identity. What you give your attention to, you become entangled with. If you constantly feed your mind outrage, fear, and comparison, don't be surprised when your life begins to reflect it. If you obsess over problems that don't even belong to you, you inherit their weight. That's the cost of careless attention. It leaks into your decisions, your emotions, your peace. Every ounce of focus you waste is an opportunity you've lost. So many people ask, why am I stuck? But they never ask, what am I feeding my mind with every day? Because the truth is, your life is a mirror of your focus. Your thoughts shape your mood shapes your actions, and your actions shape your reality. It all starts with what you allow in. It all starts with where you place your attention. You want clarity, take your attention back. You want peace, guard your attention like a fortress. Not everything deserves access to your inner world. Not every voice deserves to echo in your mind. Not every issue is yours to carry. Just because it's loud doesn't mean it's important. Just because it's popular doesn't mean it's purposeful. Just because it demands your response doesn't mean it deserves one. Every time you choose where to focus, you're building either your strength or your struggle. Choose wrong too often, and you'll find yourself overwhelmed, scattered, and anxious, chasing everything, committing to nothing. But when you slow down and make your attention deliberate, you begin to move differently. You become selective with your input, and as a result, intentional with your output. That's when your life begins to align. That's when you stop reacting and start responding, not from habit, but from power. Discipline of attention isn't a luxury. It's survival in a world designed to distract you from your purpose. You're not here to be a consumer of chaos. You're here to be a creator of calm. And that starts with understanding that your mind is not a dumping ground for every piece of noise that exists. It's a sanctuary. Treat it like one. So from now on, before you give your attention to anything, ask yourself, does this build me or drain me? Does this align with who I want to be or pull me away from it? Is this worthy of my mind, my energy, my presence? If the answer is no, let it pass. Let it die from lack of your energy. That's how you get stronger, not by doing more, but by wasting less. Your attention is your vote. It's your investment. It's your signature on what matters to you. Use it wisely. Use it deliberately. Because in a world that wants to own your mind, The greatest rebellion is choosing what to focus on with intention. And that right there is where real power lives. It's easy to think the world is just noisy for the sake of being noisy, but the truth cuts deeper than that. Most people don't just live distracted because of the world. They choose distraction because they're terrified of what silence might reveal. Stillness is uncomfortable. It forces you to face yourself without filters, without entertainment, without excuses, and that kind of confrontation, it's too heavy for most people to carry. Think about it. The moment a quiet space appears, what do people do? They reach for their phones, they turn on something, they scroll, they swipe, anything to avoid sitting with their own thoughts, because deep down there's a voice waiting in that silence, a voice that tells them the truth, a voice that reminds them of what they've been avoiding, the decisions they're not making, the pain they haven't healed, the potential they keep ignoring, and instead of facing it, they drown it. They keep moving, keep distracting, keep pretending, but avoidance doesn't make the weight disappear. It just buries it deeper, and every day you run from stillness, you move further away from clarity. You lose touch with your intuition. You silence your inner compass. That's how people end up lost. Numb, busy, but lost. Because distraction might numb the noise for a moment, but it doesn't heal the root. It doesn't bring peace. It just delays the battle. The irony is, the very thing they're running from, stillness, is the only thing that can realign them. It's in the quiet that we find truth. It's in the pause that we remember who we are, what we want, and what we're capable of. Distraction steals your energy. Stillness reclaims it. We've been trained to think that constant motion means progress. But you can be moving fast and still be going nowhere. You can be doing 1,000 things and none of them matter. Until you stop, until you slow down and ask the hard questions. What am I doing this for? Who am I becoming? Is this even what I want? Those questions live in silence. That's why people avoid it. But growth demands honesty. And honesty demands space. You can't hear yourself if the world is always louder than your own mind. You can't align with your purpose if your attention is constantly scattered. That's why stillness is not just peace, it's power. And that's also why most people will never touch it. They'll keep hiding behind noise, behind busyness, behind chaos, because it's easier to be busy than to be accountable. Don't let that be you. If you want to rise above the crowd, you have to do what the crowd avoids. That means choosing stillness when everyone else chooses stimulation. It means giving yourself moments without input so you can hear your own output. It means sitting with the discomfort until it transforms into clarity. That's where your edge lives, not in how much you can do, but in how deeply you can listen to yourself, to your soul, to what actually matters. You want strength, learn to be still. You want clarity, learn to be quiet. You want direction, stop running and start listening. And know this, if silence feels heavy, it's not because it's wrong, it's because it's real. That's what truth feels like when it hasn't been faced in a while. Let it rise, let it speak, let it strip away the distractions you've mistaken for identity. That's how you grow, that's how you evolve, not by adding more, but by removing what never belonged. There is no power in running. There is no peace in distraction. There is no growth in constant motion. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is stop. Not quit. Stop. Pause. Breathe. Listen. Because when you do, you take your mind back from the world. And when you own your mind, you own your life.